How's it going, you guys? Welcome to Blocked Content. Today, I am talking about Sonic Adventure 3. And you might be thinking, why am I talking about a game that doesn't exist? Well, because I want it to exist. And, Sonic games are something that fans are very, adamant about. It has to be fast gameplay. It has to, be the right amount of platforming. It has to be a little bit of Sonic Generations. Has to be a little bit of Sonic Adventure. Everything. So, I thought it would be funny to kind of check out what made these Sonic games so great, and what do I want in Sonic Adventure 3, were it to be made. It's, of course, Sonic's anniversary this year, and supposedly we're getting a new game announcement, and supposedly next year that game will come out. So I'm very curious, what can that be? Will that be sort of a Generations type deal? Because that was, of course, for an anniversary as well, and maybe they'll do something similar. I think they might do Sonic Adventure 3. So here are my thoughts on, what could that game be? So first off, I absolutely love the Sonic Adventure games. I know they're flawed. I know they have bugs. I know they're weird sometimes. I know the music doesn't sync. I know the character voices aren't loud enough in the cutscenes. All that kind of stuff. Sure. But okay, I love these games. And why? Because they have charm. They have charm, but they also have a lot of gameplay changes. And why I love these games is because every time you play them, something different is happening. One of my favorite stages is actually the first one in the game for Sonic, which is the City Escape level. And it actually starts with Sonic, sort of skateboarding, sliding down on, I think, the wing of like an aircraft. And it's just sliding down the city. And that's how you start the game, kind of get a feel for the controls, and then you run around, and then suddenly in a different level you're Eggman in sort of a weird, cool walker. And this game just has tons of different things. Sonic Adventure 2 was definitely a high point in the Sonic franchise, I think, and fans, seem to think so as well. What I'd like to see in Sonic Adventure 3 is a continuation of those different game styles. And I know they've tried it, and even with Sonic 2006, which was, Sonic the Hedgehog, like the horrible game that everyone hates. They tried different gaming styles with that, and it didn't really work. I think it is possible to make it work. Kind of look for a little bit of inspiration to Sonic Adventure 2. They did it in such a way where those levels feel extremely different, and like you couldn't traverse them at all in a different form. That's why I love them. It had the Walker levels were just centered around blasting as many enemies as possible, and I thought that was a really cool, way to break up the pace. The Sonic levels are very fast, Shadow and Sonic, they have loops and not a lot of time for puzzling and even platforming. But those Eggman levels, and I think there were also, Tails levels that were kind of like that too, I really loved, having a break from the speed. What I love most about Sonic Adventure is the feeling of an open world. It has a hub world in Sonic Adventure, and I thought that was really big. It has the train station, it has the Mystic Ruins, and it all felt connected to each other. And even though there were some load times here and there, it really felt like an open world to me. And they tried to kind of remake that in Sonic 2006, but that never really worked for anyone because nothing was happening there. And Soliana, I think the city was called, you couldn't really do anything there. And even in Sonic Adventure, a game that was made, years before, even on the Dreamcast, there was a lot more going on in that game. And I think if you were to really put your resources right, you could make a really cool, like, open world, hub world. I don't think the levels should be open world. I know there's a lot of fan games that do that kind of stuff. But for me, just make a cool hub world that feels kind of open worldy, like you could go anywhere with any character. But make the levels linear. Linear works for Sonic, and have different branching paths, of course. And yeah, sure, I like Generations. I like the daytime levels in Sonic Unleashed. I think that could really work for the Sonic levels. They don't have to be exactly like they were in Sonic Adventure or Adventure 2. They could do a mix of different things. I think so. But Sonic Adventure 3, I think, would be a really cool kind of love letter to the fans, because Sonic Adventure is where the big fans, of course, the big fan base comes from with Sonic, because it gave everything personality. It gave characters, voices, and it gave characters a better, character. It gave the Chows even, the Chow Garden. It gave the franchise so much heart. And I think that it's very important to give a proper nod to what made you that big. For all the flaws that Sonic Adventure 2 had, when it came out for the GameCube on Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is where the game really did it for me. It had multiplayer mode, and I played it often with my buddies, just doing all these cool races. And we even did the single player mode a lot and just tried to beat each other's scores because, speed is where it's at. Yeah, I thought it was a great game, and I think there's a lot more you can do with that formula, and they never really explored that a lot. I think in Sonic Generations there are levels that really get back that charm that Sonic Adventure had. So I think there is possibility that they can actually do that again. That it wasn't lightning in a bottle, that they can embrace their old self and create a game that's just as special as that was. And I really don't think it's nostalgia talking to me. I really think that Sega can, get it together and make a very cool Sonic Adventure game again. They need to feel epic. They need to feel like grand stories. Eggman needs to have come up with a plan that can destroy the entire world. And you need these different groups of very cool characters, like maybe even Rouge, Knuckles, Shadow the Hedgehog I'd love to see back. Maybe a new character that has a unique gameplay perspective. But, you need to work together. You need to have this story with branching paths. You need to have maybe even a dark story and a light story. I always love that. And I think that it's very possible that they're going to announce Sonic Adventure 3 and that it's going to look a little bit like Generations. And that would be totally fine with me. When Generations came out, I didn't immediately play it. But after the fan reaction and people seeing their favorite levels from the past, be remade, I thought, let's give this a try. And I actually loved it. I'm not a big fan of the old school Sonic games because when I was younger, they were hard. When you were like a little kid, the later platforming sections in Sonic games, they kind of got hard. So I never really reached that end game in Sonic games. That's why I played Mario. The pace was a little slower and you had more time to think, and so you had more time to learn. So getting better at that game was just a little faster. I liked it that way. But I thought Sonic Adventure, handled it very differently where, you might think it's kind of on rails, and sometimes it is, when you're going through loopings and stuff. But there's a lot of freedom to be had. You can jump out of loopings for, a better time, and kind of all the homing attack things to get to different spaces I thought were really cool. And the homing attack in particular has never really been the same in Sonic games, right? It's never felt quite like that. And I'd really love for them to go back. What made that game so good? Why did it work so well? And try it, As far as the story goes, yeah, a big plot. Eggman needs to be able to destroy the world. They need to stop him. There needs to be a timer in like the last stage. Do we need to go into space? I don't know. But I think there's a lot of potential for something very cool happening. I think Jun Senoue has to come back for the soundtrack, of course. I think Crush 40 has to do the soundtrack, of course. That's what I love about Sonic games. The soundtracks are always really awesome, You never hear a Mario rock soundtrack. But in Sonic games, that's kind of the norm. And they even got Zebrahead for one of the games. And even Jared Reddick from Bowling for Soup. I think get a cool pop-punk band, You may even reach out to Blink-182 while you're at it. I mean, those guys are super popular, and Sega's got the capital. Just work together, You guys are both popular. Sonic Adventure 3, great things can happen, I think. So, I'm very curious what the anniversary gift from Sega will be. If it is Sonic Adventure 3, there is a big chance that it's going to disappoint. And I have very high hopes, as you can hear. I want the Chow Garden, I want multiple playable characters, I want a big story, I want multiplayer. Of course, not everything is going to happen. But it's good to have these wishes, and it's good to let Sega know what we expect, because these things were in previous games in the series, and if you were to combine it all in a neat package with your great visuals that you've been doing lately, have kind of an open world like Hub World, I think you could be onto something very, very special. And Sonic Adventure 3, the name alone could sell millions and millions of copies. So it's not a bad gamble to make. I don't think it's a gamble at all. It would be a great, awesome success. And the Sonic fan base is really waiting for Sonic Adventure 3. If you want to know, just check out Facebook and just type in Sonic Adventure 3. There is a fan page and it has a lot of likes. So there is demand for this. I'm very curious, are you a Sonic fan, and what game is your favorite? Are you looking forward to the new game that's supposed to be announced very soon? Are you having thoughts about a Sonic Adventure 3? What are your thoughts? I want to hear your ideas. Just post it down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to Blocked Content for more on the content you love. We will be talking about Sonic a lot more when there's more announcements, because I can't wait for more Sonic.